Thank you for joining us for That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with VoiceMatters, and my ever steady co-host, Karen Swim with Solo PR Pro. Hi, Karen. How are you today?
Hello, Michelle. I'm so excited. We are now, when our listeners hear this podcast, it will be 2024. So excited for a brand new year.
Yeah, for real. It's really 2024 this time, listeners. I know the last one that dropped on New Year's Day. We kind of did that before the whole New Year thing happened, but we're here. We made it. We made it to January 2024. And I know we spent a little time looking back last episode, but of course, we're going to do the looking forward thing and just kind of taking stock, really, of what's been happening, what people have said is happening and is going to happen, and maybe do a little reality check against some of those things.
I love it.
Which is a good start. I know you dug up some great data, just talking about how we spent a year, again, doom scrolling, being told a recession was on the horizon and, oh, the sky is falling. And, hey, given the past few years, we're kind of like, yeah, probably. Okay. Well, why not? But according to reports, it's not exactly been the case. Year-end numbers were far more cheerful than, well, at least as we in the public have been told to anticipate, if that makes sense. I know there's an economist on Instagram that I follow that, forgive me, I cannot remember your handle, but she brought up this amazing point about the actual economy versus the vibe economy and how that kind of predicates where we are.
I love that because you know what? It doesn't matter what the numbers say. It matters how you feel, period. Yeah. And I think we saw that in 2023 economically. It doesn't matter that actual statistics now show that in many cases, headcounts remain the same. It matters how you felt when layoffs were happening and how companies felt. Did they pull back and stop hiring because of the layoff news looming so large? Did PR pros perceive that there was less opportunity because there were cutbacks? So I think that's great that this economist calls out what's being reported and then what the reality is, but most importantly, how people feel, because the economy can be good, but if people don't feel confident, they're not going to spend, period.
Right.
Data be darned. And, we had so many people last year saying, we're going to have a recession. We're going to have a recession. And then we did not have a recession. And during the holidays, people spent more, like spending was up.
Yeah.
And it's weird that happened, but people felt either they were doing a little retail therapy or they thought this trash year is almost over and I'm going to buy gifts for everybody and celebrate because I deserve this. I mean, I don't know, but again, feelings do play into, what really happens in the economy.
Yeah, that's very true. And, let's not discount that corporate greed still reigns. So some of our grocery prices are still a little bit up there, and that puts some of your restaurant prices up. And I know it has been, I've seen it, at least in my region, it's been a very tough year end for some of those smaller entities, and I totally get it and empathize with them. So here's my little shout out, go to a locally owned place this week. Just, buy the coffee. Don't do as Susie Orman says, buy the coffee.
100%. So one of the trends that we think that we're looking at for this year is that, the economy, there's going to still be uncertainty.
Sure.
But for our PR pros, we say that uncertainty is where we thrive.
Yeah.
I think that it's easy for us to allow this weight. And, and now experts are calling this in the workforce space. They're saying that we're now in the great gloom. People are just depressed about their jobs. I can confirm I was among those people last year, as many of our audience members were too, where you're like, ugh, do I even want to do this or anything anymore? We were not very happy. However, I believe that all of this presents opportunities for us, but it's very important for us to first take care of our own mindset we can't control everything that goes on in the environment, and we never could, but we can impact the environment on behalf of clients. So it's important for us to remember our value, write it down, have your value points somewhere where you can look at them frequently as well, so that you remind to tell people, clients, potential clients, what it is that you offer. Let's remember that no matter how the world wants to just shove us into that media only niche, that we offer far more. What can you do with internal communications? What can you do with all the new global opportunities? One of the trends that's happening is that there is still some remote work while people are still being called to the office, but there's some remote work. So that has spurred a trend of more diverse workforces.
Yeah.
And that diversity extends to global diversity, because if you don't have to be in the office every day, then you can actually, tap into talent from all parts of the world. Well, many of our PR pros have global experience. Many of our PR pros have experience working with global teams and understand how to navigate things. That's a selling point for you. So I think look at the problems of the world and say, you know what? Problems really are an opportunity. Problems are how products get created. Products are how new innovations come about, because somebody looks at that problem and goes, how can I solve that? And so I want our audience to do the same thing. Look at these trends, look at the problems that we're having and say, how can I fix that? How can I be a small part of this solution? You don't have to fix the whole thing. We're not asking you to fix our US economy, although if you can, please do. But there are parts of it that you truly can impact.
That's so true. A couple points that you said. I mean, it's never a problem, always an opportunity. And I first heard that take on it from the former manager of my favorite band in the world, Squeeze. when we had the good luck to be in their company, and they were, I forget what the situation even was, and he said, oh, never a problem, always an opportunity. And that stuck with me. So I'd love that you bring that up. And really, what are PR pros other than problem solvers? That's what we are.
We are.
We're like a Sherpa. I mean, we've seen all kinds of businesses. We've seen so many different kinds of businesses. So we have all of that institutional knowledge as seasoned pros, and we can offer counsel. Are we attorneys / MBAs / this, that, and the other? Well, not by degree, but by experience. You betcha we bring a whole lot to the table as far as counsel. So I think it's so important, like you say. Oh my gosh, forget the vision boards. Remember your value and write it down and put it in front of you. I'd much rather stare at that than some, picture of a beach somewhere that I maybe might forget to schedule.
I feel like every PR pro should have that written and prominent and look at it daily, because it's one of the things that I believe that we forget about ourselves. And we take ourselves for granted. And if you're taking yourself for granted, it's going to impact who you target. It's going to impact your confidence going into sales meetings, and it's going to affect your business. And so, again, we're dealing with our own mind and how we think and how we show up in the world. And we've allowed other people in 2023, a lot of us, to dim our light.
Yeah.
Let's not do that in 2024. Let's go into the year. And when you look at these problems and you say, it's only a problem when I make it a problem, but you pick something that you're particularly passionate about, guess what? That's where your excitement comes back. And when you're excited about something, think about how different your attitude is and how you work differently. We deserve to love our jobs again in 2024. I don't care that everybody else is in the great gloom. I'm not going to be gloomy. I'm not going to hate my job. I'm going to get rid of the things that I do not care for. I'm going to get rid of the types of people that I don't care to work with. I'm just going to keep saying no to the wrong types of clients. I'm not going to be driven by my bank account, because I'm not driven by that anyway. I know that if I choose the right clients that allow me to do my best work, everything is going to work out. And I feel like we all deserve that. We should work with the people that energize us, that give us joy, that give us the types of work that make us happy. there's always going to be problem clients. There's always going to be times that work feels like work, but it shouldn't be drudgery day in, day out. We don't have time for that.
No. And I think, look, we're all realistic. Just because the calendar page turned to a different number of a year doesn't mean that everything is magic. However, coming off the holiday time, when things might have slowed down, did not. But it was still a bit of a mental pause in many ways. Yeah. And I know for myself, as I'm doing my own reentry, whereas the last month or two, I would just hit it hard in the morning. Okay, what do I have? What do I have to prove? And not stopping to think, okay, why are you alarming yourself, Michelle? Address this email and then move on. And yes, even take 15 minutes to just kind of check in with yourself and go, okay, what are my priorities today? We can slow ourselves down because rare is the time when something is, 10 seconds from going to press or, it's not. And I'm so guilty of that because you just want to keep going. Oh, yeah, I got to think about that. All right. Okay. Well, one of these days. And you end up being in the middle of that avalanche snowball going down the hill. And we don't want that. I don't want that for myself. So I'm trying very hard, and I may still be in that re-entry disillusionment bubble that it's possible. But darn it, I'm going to try.
And, another thing that's really been coming up is obviously AI and its continued role. And I can't say this enough, watch those trends.
Yeah.
But be quick about making your own pivots and deepening your knowledge about the use of AI and thinking about different problems that AI uses are bringing up. Because again, where the problems are, there's opportunities for us as PR people. We're seeing that journalists are concerned. When we look back at the challenges that they faced last year, I think it was a Cision study, a big study on the journalists. One of the things was misinformation, but also accuracy of content. And AI plays into that. We're also seeing media companies suing AI companies for training on their content. So there's going to be a lot of battling, a lot of backlash, a lot of competitors springing up. And as always, we PR pros need to remember that a tool is a tool is a tool. Doesn't matter if it's the latest sexy technology. Where our value lies is in being strategic, understanding the appropriate use cases, watching out for ethical considerations, watching out for all of the nuances that AI models cannot handle, such as languaging around DEI and inclusivity. It's important. Those things are things that you as an expert and a professional can do. What about when you serve, markets that are global and watching for those language nuances? AI can't necessarily do all of that. It can be a tool to help you to, with ideation and even with some content creation, but it still is going to require human oversight. There are more and more jobs calling for people in AI script writers, people that are good at chat prompts. I find that with it being so new to the general public, that many people are already stepping up and proclaiming themselves to be expert when it's very much an evolving field. But whatever. I'm an expert too.
Yeah, right? We've seen it before. Social media gurus.
Definitely. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've long said it's a tool. It's here. There's no denying it. So rather than run away, it's best to be savvy about it, know about it, get good at it, get good at using it. You may just learn to like it a little bit, but just be aware of, some of the shakeups it's going to be that are bound to happen. But, I think like most anything else, things do level off. It's just, learning how to master yet another technology. And I think I found PR pros tend to be at the forefront of that, honestly.
We do.
Because, I've talked about it in some circles. I mean, in some circles, they think, oh, this will just do everything for me. I'm like, check the quality. I think you'll find that you'll be disappointed. And others are like, what?
Yeah. Well, in every profession, there are those that will try to take the shortcut way out. Yes. And those are not the true professionals, and that's not our audience.
No.
like our audience is the best of the best, the profession.
You betcha.
So one more stat that I want to cite is, I'm sure that you're all familiar with this longevity report. It's been like 85 years studying this population of people. And one of the key predictors of long life and high quality of life are connections. And so, personal plug, we know that these past few years have just been so different, but they're so much easier when you don't go it alone. So, while you may be the founder, the CEO, the boss, while you might be a true solo or micro agency, this year, please make this the year that you surround yourself with community, because you do not have to do this journey on your own. It makes a huge difference when you can tap into your peer network with the highs, the lows, your questions, when you can be supportive to other people, because that regenerates us as well. The doors of Solo PR Pro will be opening back up probably next week. I was supposed to do in December, but I did not. I encourage you to watch on social media. If you subscribe to our newsletters, please, watch our newsletters, because I'll make the announcement. But join this community of talented people so that you don't give in to the great gloom that's consuming other people, because it is more depressing when you are on your own. And just because you're a solo doesn't mean that you can't have community, network, and a virtual office of colleagues that will be supportive to you. And yes, this is a personal plug, which we don't do very often in this way. And I'm offering it up because I don't know that I would have lasted in this profession without this community myself, my personal testimony. This community has been life-giving to me, and it's continues to be a place unlike many other places on the internet. It's a place where there's trust, where there's genuine love for one another and care for one another. And I just don't find that same mix everywhere else. And so I think that we're pretty special and would like you to take advantage of that as well this year.
I concur. I can vouch for that. Solo PR Pro was the first organization that I found when I was starting my business that led me to believe, oh, I can do this, because look at all these other, smart, successful people who have been doing it. And every word you say is true. It is a place of trust, compassion, care, smarts. I mean, it almost feels like every time I go in the group, I feel like I might be, it's as if you're walking down the hall of the office and you stop in the doorway of a colleague and say, hey, got a minute? I'm facing this thing and I really don't know what to do. And instead of just one person's feedback, you'll have dozens coming at you and saying like, oh, me too. Or, well, yeah, this happened to me once. Here's what I did. Or maybe try this. It's really an incredible place. And I agree. I have not found or seen anything remotely similar to it. Not that, other groups have their pros and cons, of course. They all do. But I've not seen something that even gets close to the value that it brings. So yeah, when the doors open, I can't say strongly enough to check it out. Yay. Well, on that note, we hope you've gotten something out of this today. We hope we've helped you to know that you deserve to have a year without gloom. We're going to kick out the gloom this year. Please share this episode around. We would really appreciate that. Shoot up some reviews about us. That would be kind of awesome. And until next time, yeah. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.